Hello, everyone. Welcome back to the Dr. Nasser Shake Show. I'm your guest host. My name is Dr. Nasser, and what we have on tap for you today is our continuing series of the debates between Latin conservatives and Latin liberals, and we're doing our reaction to it. And we're going to get to that next few seconds. But before we do so, if you haven't done it, subscribe to the channel, hit that notification bell, like, share, and follow us. Put your comments down below. Let us know what you think. Let's get to part 4 of those debates right now.
Raise your hand if you are for the wall. One of you that raised your hand for the wall. Why? Why are you for the wall?
Every single year through the southern border, there's like 16,000 kids that are brought through the illegal ports of entry for trafficking purposes, labor and sex slavery, which I think it's a terrible crime that we should all get behind, and also women. So that is one of the main reasons I'm for the wall. It's going to secure our borders, it's going to prevent people from doing these terrible crimes, and obviously it's national security as well.
Anyone that's against the wall, does anyone want to respond?
Human trafficking is done right here in Miami. It's done all over the place. A wall didn't start it or won't stop it either. Also, there are people being raped and killed and having the same type of exploitation who are in these ICE detention camps. Children are being killed, and we don't even know what's happening to them. So, I mean, if you're going to build a wall, maybe build it around some other areas. Maybe build it around the White House so that people stop getting killed like that.
Okay, first of all, honey, there is a wall around the White House. It's called a fence, a perimeter, armed guards all over the place. So there is a wall there. Second thing, the hyperbole that these people use, that there are kids that are being killed in these detention centers. Folks, that would be huge news. I'm not saying that it hasn't happened, but when you say kids are being killed, like it makes it sound like, every single day these kids are just being wiped out completely. They're being raped, and you know what? There might be gangs within those populations that are being housed. And that's what we're trying to prevent. That's what that other girl was talking about. The prevention. If you can stop one from happening, it's worth it.
What I will say is the wall is impractical. Number one, there's certain areas in the country where the wall just, it's just impractical. I honestly thought the wall was like a metaphor to just tougher immigration policies, which whatever, but they really want a literal wall. It's impractical in some parts of the country. And number two, it's cutting through a lot of reservations. We're talking about Indian land that the government does not own, and they want to cut through that land. Those are sovereign nations that they're going to be invalidating just for some wall that, again, is impractical in many other areas of the country. And number three, a wall is not going to stop us. We're going to be migrating here regardless.
I just want to address the whole thing he said about Mexicans being rapists, bringing drugs. First of all, this is true. This is a statement of fact. I mean, Mexicans do bring drugs into this country illegally. Mexicans do come in here and commit murders, commit crimes. And I don't think it's appropriate to paint with a wide brush all Mexicans coming to this country are doing that, because my mom crossed the border to this country twice illegally. I have plenty of family who has done that, and they've come here and done good things. My mom came here, and her first job was at Taco Bell cutting tomatoes, and that might be funny, but that's true. That's a fact. So it's not appropriate for Trump to paint every Mexican coming here as a murderer or a drug dealer. But the fact is that a lot of them are. And in my point of view, let's say we let in 50 Mexicans to this country. 49 of them are good working citizens who want to contribute. If one of them kills my daughter, I don't want any of them in the country.
Speaking of your family that went...
What that guy just said right there, that's what Trump was basically saying. Some are good. Many are good, some are bad. But you know what? One bad person could ruin everything for everybody. And the fact of the matter is, if we have crime occurring in America within our borders from American citizens themselves, that's something we have laws against. Obviously, we have controls for. We go after those people. We've got a judicial system and everything. Now you're bringing in illegals, allowing to come inside here. They commit murders. That blood is on the hand of the government or those entities or those people or those policies that allowed those people to come into this country that are not American citizens. Because if one of those people kills an American citizen or even another illegal it shouldn't have happened because they shouldn't have been here in the damn place to begin with.
And through this very similar process that I'm about to say, a couple of days ago, Donald Trump was in the border. He was there and he said, "Our country's full. We cannot take you anymore."
He wants to close the border.
He was referring to the hundreds and hundreds of Central American migrants, many of whom are fleeing violence, who are here to request asylum. So raise your hand, and actually let's start by you. Do you believe that this specific community of Central American asylum seekers deserve to come into the United States?
Well, if you look at the history of asylum, it's based on religious persecution, things of that nature. Now, we're painting asylum with a broader brush, where if there's violence in your home country, you deserve to get asylum. Yes, I know that. So you deserve to get asylum, and well, I don't know if that should be the case. If we should just accept anyone from everywhere just because they're escaping a bad situation. I don't think that automatically grants you asylum. First,
would you argue that your mom could be one of those people?
I would absolutely argue that my mom, under different circumstances, could have been one of those people. So it is a very touchy situation, me being a Mexican American, and noting that my mom has become successful. And it is hard, but at the same time, we have a problem already with poverty in this country. We have a problem with veterans who aren't getting the care that they need after literally getting blown up for the right for us to be here right now and have this discussion. And I think before we start taking in everyone else and their problems, we need to address the problems that we have in this country now.
Anyone that wants to respond?
My issue is that some of these ideals, while they might have some aspects set in reality, it creates a sort of hysteria and it creates a sort of anti-immigrant sentiment where my brother who was born here, people always tell him go back to his country. And the thing about ICE and some of the bills that are going on right now are not just, they're not just deporting criminals. There are mothers, there are families, actual families that are being
coming to this country illegally in itself makes you a criminal. If you come to this country illegally,
you love to cut people off.
Okay.
It is separating families is very divisive. Why didn't he have such sentiments against his own wives? He seems to love immigrants in his bedroom. So I don't understand. Not to be vulgar, but I'm saying is just keeping it real.
Okay, I just have to, answer that question right there, what you talked about. Trump, loves to have immigrants, obviously alluding to his 3 wives. Honey, once again, I got to mansplain things to you. They were here legally. Do you know the difference between legally and illegally? There's an I and an L in front of the word legal. Trump's wives, legal. These other people we're talking about, illegal. And again, when you're talking about all this stuff over and over and over again, President Obama, I think, deported over 3 million people. And you talk about families being uprooted and taken away from each other. Where was your uproar? Where were you screaming and shouting? Where were your protests? Where were your riots? Where were all the other, things that people do on the left when you try to coalesce around groups? Where was all this shouting down of Obama's policies? I didn't hear a peep. No one heard a peep. You guys kept your damn mouths shut. The news people, the media cartels, the the Hollywood hypocrites, the academic institutions, those elitists, all right, the alphabet networks, they carried the water for Barack Obama on this. Nary people, nothing about it. Trump comes in, one kid gets separated. Oh my goodness gracious, he's a freaking monster.
So I've been trying to talk for a while. So I want to talk about your last comment. Trump said these things. Do you consider this racist? That makes racism seem rhetorical, as if it's a rhetorical device, instead of it being a systematic issue that's actively destroying lives, like family separation. So for people to decide, well, is this racist? Just by the sound of it is kind of silly to me because the fact that separating a family is racism. Slavery was racism, and it worked off native slavery. Separating these families at the border is slavery. And talking about these families that are coming over, why are they coming over? We talked about MS-13, you called them rapists, gangbangers, so on and so on. But those are American gangs. They're created in a very particular form of carceral racism. And they were deported back to these countries, and these And they weren't even from there. They were raised here. They developed these types of habits in order to exist within a racialized American economy.
But they're also in those countries.
So, because they got deported there by the U.S., you created that problem. And also for the fact
She
that
did? I didn't create that problem. She didn't create
Not
that.
talking about America.
I'm talking about Americans.
Right, but that's not my problem now.
Okay, that's fine. You were talking about the American position all day, so I created I used it as a rhetorical device for the American position that deported these people.
Right. So let's talk about the fact that you guys brought up that family and separation is racist. I have a big problem when they're using children at the border to get into this country that is not their children.
Yes.
So either there's DNA tests or we're gonna have to separate you to make sure that that child belongs to that parent.
But there's this thing called human nature. I feel like, I don't
So
know,
you're
maybe
okay
behind
with
that
people-
makeup,
so you're
you
okay
just
with
like
people-
lost
You just insulted
human
her. Of
nature.
course you're in your
I
feels.
did. I
Look
don't
at you.
care.
You're all-
Because she
you're
told me I'm in my
dramatic.
feels, and I feel some kind of
Let's
way.
talk about the 11 million documented immigrants that are here. What is the first thing that comes to mind when I say that? Let's go around.
I think we should give them citizenship, and that might surprise you guys, but I do think they're already here. They've been here for a while. They're in our schools. They're in our restaurants. They're everywhere. They're a part of us. They should be given citizenship.
I think I agree with him that a lot of them that have been here, maybe they should get amnesty. I think, they've been here for so long, they're pretty much American by this point, but there are some that they don't represent American values and they shouldn't be here.
What exactly are American values?
Murder,
Stealing,
imperialism,
murder. No, I'm telling
colonization.
you, life,
Here we go.
happiness. No, it's right in our constitution. It's right in our constitution.
Respond to that question
It's
and then
right
you
in
go.
our constitution, the life, liberty, and
But you're
pursuit
not even
of
American,
happiness.
according
That
to
is
you.
the American dream.
I have an American passport. I'm a citizen.
No,
I
but
wasn't born
you're
here, but I
All right, let's
appreciate
keep
the
going
American
around. Let's keep
values.
going
You know,
around.
I hear a lot of things too, like just amnesty, at the snap of a finger. I mean, a lot of them, if they're criminals, I think they got to be deported. A lot of them, their families, and, they've earned their chance at becoming citizens.
I almost find it disgusting that we're really talking about how to legitimize, the life of a human being.
Thank you.
So they should be given citizenship because of this, right? I think people should be granted human dignity, period. No matter if you're a Palestinian baby, if you're an American baby, regardless, give them their humanity.
There's a
So this guy right here again, Mr. PhD, comes in there, and what's the leftist talking point? Everybody has dignity. Even the Palestinian baby, even the Armenian baby, even this baby, even that baby. Give people their dignity, give people their due. And that's all fine and good. And giving dignity is fine. But you don't give, what? We're not talking about for people that are law-abiding citizens. We're talking about the people that have broken the law. It's a felony. Every other country in the world, or I would basically say almost every country in the world, I can't think of another country that does the same thing as America does, because they don't have the same they do have wokesters in those countries too, but they haven't been taken over like the wokesters here in America have. And so every other country has borders. You can't get in without a visa. You can't get in without papers. You'll go to jail. You'll be arrested. You'll be kicked out. But no, for the United States, we're the ones that have to show the compassion. We're the ones that have to show the dignity. And they're talking about we are showing compassion. We are showing dignity because we're reuniting those children with their real parents and not with cartel gangbanger members, not with coyotes, not with rapists, not with, murderers. Because that's what these people are doing. They're basically using children as a shield to come to this country and say that we're a family together, and they're absolutely not. And so to have the DNA test, to have the paternity test, to have those things available and to be made so you can make sure that the people who say they are a nuclear family, they are, and the ones that aren't, send them back and say, that's not your child. And then there's exploitation on that as well. But going back to the leftist dogma, see, it feels good. There comes the virtual signaling. I'm better than you are. My morals are better. I'm so much better than you are. Look at my feeling. I feel for these people. I have empathy. Oh, you people on the right, you conservatives, you Donald Trump people, Donald Trump this, what? He said has no compassion. He just wants to rip families apart. What about the people, when somebody commits some type of a crime over here, don't we separate families from here? The person, if it's a man, and they separate him from his family and he goes to jail for 10, 15, 20, 30 years, and you're going to call that racism? because he committed a crime and now he's separated from his family? That's not giving the person his dignity? Anyways, folks, we appreciate you taking the time to watch. You've been watching the Dr. Nasser Sheikh Show. I've been your guest host. My name is Dr. Nasser. If you haven't done so already, subscribe to the channel, hit that notification bell, like, share, and follow us. Put your comments down below. Let us know what you think. And I'll leave you with my final thought, which is, when you're right, and when you're left, you're wrong. We'll see you again next time, folks. Take care and stay safe.